And for more on this discussion, we're now joined by SABC News Reporter Mbalenhle Mthethwa, and she joins us now via a video link. Mbalenhle, thank you so much for your time this evening. Of course, when the Premier of Gauteng delivers his State of the Province address, he will be under immense pressure to try and deal with a number of issues and challenges facing the residents here in Gauteng. What can we expect from his SOPA?
Well, indeed, he does have a tough task ahead of him. And this is to win over the hearts of Gauteng residents, especially after that poor performance we saw, which has actually tipped the ANC below 50+1% at the provincial legislature. And now some of the issues that we can really talk about off the top of our minds is the issue of water cuts. Now, we know that the city of Johannesburg has experienced some challenges when it comes to the infrastructure and the budget and securing a budget to ensure that they are able to perform the routine maintenance that is necessary in order to ensure that there are no interruptions when it comes to the water supply to residents. Now, unfortunately, this has not been done so far, and it seems as though the water challenges are still persisting, with intermittent supply of water in the city of Johannesburg being a very key issue. And most recently, we are seeing that, while load shedding might have been a thing of the past, it would seem as though load shedding is back. And we saw the Premier during the previous administration opening up a number of renewable energy power stations in order to assist City Power to bridge the gap between Eskom as well as, its customers, and ensuring that businesses are able to continue providing services and operating during those dark periods in the country. However, it's unclear if City Power has been able to do so and to actually tap into those energy reserves that were there and have been placed. But the Premier has not quite reached the target, which was to actually add almost 100 megawatts to the city of Johannesburg's grid using its power distributor, that being City Power. And City Power also just saying that they no longer wanted to only rely on Eskom, but were also looking at other avenues. And this avenue was indeed renewable energy.
Yeah, and I mean, that is a number of issues that he will have to deal with, particularly at a time when we are now facing, issues around electricity, and also you touching on the issues around water challenges in the province. But when it comes to electricity, it's a very tough one to also approach, right? Particularly now that we've seen load shedding make another return, and what it will mean for the high rate of unemployment, and how it will hit small businesses yet again, who are really just reeling from the issues around COVID-19 and now another bout of load shedding.
Well, when we're talking about Gauteng and the issue of load shedding, we also have to remember that Gauteng remains the economic hub of South Africa. And when Gauteng is unable to produce at optimal levels, it means that the entire economy suffers. And this is the province that many people flock to in the hopes of finding some form of employment. But when we look at township businesses in the township for small medium enterprises, to be exact, we find that they have a lot of issues, and the issue of electricity is compounded by the fact that they also have to grapple with issues of load reduction, and load reduction is actually not scheduled. So the power could go out for as long as 2 hours, 3 hours, or even 4 hours. And that is something that, businesses could not necessarily plan for. And that resulted in a number of businesses having to close their doors doors and shut their doors, and obviously adding to the unemployment numbers. Now, the request that we have received from the people on the ground is for the Premier to do something in order to assist the province to be able to attract investors to the province and also to create formal employment. One of the people that we spoke to is a person who was once a tour guide in the buzzing street of Vilakazi, the world famous street, really, which has become quite a tourist attraction. And because of that, this is also just a challenge that came from COVID and so on. And they're complaining about the fact that because the unemployment levels are so high, and it's not just unskilled laborers who are unable to find jobs, but you're also finding that even graduates are unable to find employment. And therefore meaning that, they are then, some people unfortunately have turned to drugs. And those are the social ills that we're seeing in this community, which has contributed to crime. So some of the issues that the Premier will have to tackle will be that issue of ensuring that businesses are cushioned from any energy shortfalls, as well as ensuring that businesses are able to create employment and that the province is able to ensure that they are able to attract investors to the province. So those are some of the things that the Premier will have to look at. But the issue of crime is also quite important, given that we have received a warning from those who live around Vilakazi Street, and they're saying that the rampant crime is also to a certain extent as a result of drug abuse in the community. And these drug abuse incidents are not only isolated or unique to Soweto, but they are a problem in many townships across Gauteng. And obviously this then creates a very big problem. And they are also calling on the Premier to do something about crime. But you will remember that the Premier has introduced crime prevention wardens as a means to augment law enforcement and those measures. And and at this point, there has been also an agreement that has been reached between the National Police Ministry, the province, as well as different municipalities to work together and to share the resources that each and every arm of a government has in order to fight crime. But it would seem as though if we look at the crime stats, Gauteng still leading in terms of those crime statistics. And, it remains to be seen if these measures have indeed, yielded the results that, were probably that the Premier was hoping to achieve at the time of introducing these crime prevention wardens. However, communities are somewhat at odds with the concept of the crime prevention wardens. Some of them saying that they are nowhere to be seen, and some of them welcoming the introduction of these crime prevention wardens, saying that they do assist in terms of ensuring that there is greater police visibility, especially at schools and so on.
All right, Mbalenhle, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That is SABC News reporter Mbalenhle Mthethwa. They're just giving us an insight in terms of what to expect when Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi delivers his State of the Province address.